Welcome to today's video. Let's call it Life with Ryan. Truth be told, I woke up feeling more flat today. And after acknowledging how I was feeling and getting some movement in, inspiration arrived for me to share this video. So I have some notes with me around what I want to share. And you'll see the title for today's video is that your dream job or career requires greater faith. If you're somebody who's not open to discussing the topic of faith or doesn't believe would be the wrong word, let's say doesn't accept something greater than our separate selves, then please save yourself some time today. You can end this video. If anyone else watching resonates with what is flowing, then stick around and let's look deeper for ourselves. There are some interesting discussions which I've been having with people around the job that they have, the job that they want to transition to, the career that they see themselves in, or how they want to share themselves with the world. And very often in these discussions, what I see is that there is an underlying programming or fear system which prevents the individual from truly taking the step, being who they really are, and pursuing what it is that they say they want to do in this lifetime. Now, in my new book, I write about this. And what I explain is that each of us here is on purpose. We came here to discover the truth of who we really are and then serve from this place within ourselves and share ourselves with the world. And my question to you is, are you flowing with the power of your journey and where it wants to go? Or are you fearfully holding onto the reeds at the bank of the river because you may be scared of where the flow wants to take you? We are either living from fear or we are living from faith. We can't live from both at one time. You're either living in fear or you're living in faith. Now, faith for people, which interests me, is that when things are going well, we speak of our faith and God or the universe's provision over our lives and how things are unfolding for us in perfect timing. But the moment things might be perceived to be a bit more challenging for the individual, it's as if faith goes out the window. Faith disappears from an individual's experience because the discomfort or the resistance that they're experiencing is actually their own doing. The river is wanting to flow exactly where it must go for you. Everything that you need exists in the one true flow of the river. But because we see ourselves as separate, because we see ourselves as a limited ego identity, we then try and live and take control of everything in our own power. I must do this in order to have a job. I must do this in order to pay the bills. But if I leave this job, which is mundane and soulless, then how am I going to pay for rent at the end of the month? It's not even the end of the month yet. So where is your faith? Let's name the river faith or the universe. The river is going exactly where the one flow of the river must go. Are you part of the flow? Or are you still holding onto the reeds at the riverbank? Your dream career requires the faith that you speak about. Your dream career requires you to let go and surrender to the flow of infinite possibility for yourself in this lifetime. It may seem daunting because it challenges you as the separate one that wants to do everything in its own power. But if you're operating from your own power, what happens to faith, or what happens to the greater power which you say you accept over your life? So where are you holding on, and where can you choose to meet the flow of your life? You see, the river may want to bend around a corner, and just around the corner is the next perfect thing for you because it is all one. We are not separate from this universe. Everything that you need will be provided for you in perfect timing, but not if you are operating from a place of fear. Not if lack continues to dominate your mindset and your consciousness, saying that I'm scared. If I really go for it, how am I going to provide? If you see yourself as the I that needs to provide, you are coming from the separate, limited one. God, source, the universe provides. You just need to meet the flow and have the faith that around the bend or the corner in the river is exactly what is waiting for you. So have a look at your own life where you are desperately clinging and holding on because of fear. And wherever you see fear dominating your reality, can you choose to step boldly into faith and meet the one true flow of life? Now let's talk about career, right? We need to find the ability to shift from making ourselves, or you making yourself feel better, to making the world a better place. And by better, let's be careful. By better, I mean more conscious. The separate, limited self, the individual you that you may believe you are, is desperately rushing around life, trying to fill itself up and make itself feel better. But that can only be temporary, because everything that you chase for external validation or satisfaction is only temporary. And then you chase the next thing. You get a car, you enjoy it for a month or 3, and then you need the next car, or your neighbor arrives home with the new model. Suddenly you're unhappy because the ego wants to experience the thrill and the rush of the new model. So all external success can only be temporary in its nature. And that leaves you exhausted from the endless pursuit of trying to fill yourself up and make yourself feel better. So is your career something you're doing to take and feel better about yourself? Or is your career something that is an expression of who you are? Is your career a way for you to pour yourself into the world and share yourself from the truest place you know how, in order to make bold impact and live a life of true fulfillment? It's only one or the other. And initially for all of us, it's the taking. It's making ourselves feel better. And then it becomes the shift to making the world a better place, playing our individual part as a human being in making the world more conscious, or being more conscious about how we go about everyday life in the world. The thing that I need to share, though, is that you cannot find your true purpose until you discover yourself. You cannot have your dream career. You cannot have the job that you ultimately want until you know who you really are. So the question is then, how do I do this? You have to turn inwards. Eventually, the movement turns from being an outward movement to an inward movement, where you get to discover the truth of who you really are and have always been. It's not that there's some discovery that of a new individual or new passions, new inspirations. They've always been there, but you've temporarily forgotten the truth of who you actually are. And that movement inwards allows you to discover and choose yourself over and over again. Because at the core of everything that you do as a human being in this lifetime, you are looking for only one thing, and that thing is happiness. We all are here to be happy. So are you finding happiness in fleeting moments of short-term satisfaction from cars, homes, experiences, people, places, things outside of you? Or are you finding eternal happiness within yourself? Because the ego is the one that believes that happiness exists out there. And we all know what this looks and feels like. But the longer you chase that external happiness, the more exhausted you eventually become. True happiness can only be found within you. And you must discover yourself in order to understand that happiness is your true nature. So your entire purpose in this lifetime is to discover yourself. And when you do, you can then live as an extension of the truth of who you are and share yourself with this world, which brings lasting happiness, power, fulfillment, and a deeper sense of purpose. So have a look for yourself in what I've shared. Remember to choose faith over fear. Time and time again, we're going to be sucked out of that faithful, resourceful place of living into a place of fear. And every time you choose fear, you have become separate from the flow of the river that is wanting to take you to the most incredible places in your life. But you have to have a greater sense of faith and the courage to meet the flow of this river entirely. Let go and allow yourself to be moved by something other than your fear and desperation to have the things you want in your life. If you're somebody who's looking to transition your career or really want to discover your true purpose and start creating a life of fulfillment, doing something that you love each day, then please get in contact. Let's set up a free coaching call together, and I'll meet you in the flow of the river.